Hello students, I hope all of you are doing well. I am back with another RC as I have promised you in the previous video. The main motive behind this video series is to help you develop the habit of deep reading and to help you familiarize with the various topics that are loved by CAT exam setters. So let's get started. Today the main topic is philosophy and we will read the passage and solve questions. Let's get started. As you can see, the main topic is philosophy. In constitutional democracies, the notion of personal liberty is neither static nor self-evident. Now, in constitutional democracies, मैंने कहा फिलोसफी की बात करें और अचानक ये डेमोक्रेसीज की बात आ रही है, तो यहाँ पर कहीं ना कहीं ये समझिए कि कैट में ना बिल्कुल फिलोसफी के बारे में बोला और फिलोसफी से रिलेटेड ही पैसेज सारा है, ऐसा नहीं होता है. आपको एक्चुअली अपने ब्रेन को इस तरह से ट्रेन करना पड़ेगा कि इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी पैसेजेस आपको आने वाले. तो फिलोसफी के बारे में बात करते हुए सडनली व्हेन यू सी द वर्ड डेमोक्रेसीज you start thinking maybe it is about sociology. Yes, it is also about sociology and it is also about the philosophy of sociology. Okay, so when we are talking about constitutional democracy, what should be the main philosophy behind that constitutional democracy is something we may be talking about in this passage. Okay, so let's get started again. Let's start reading the passage again. In constitutional democracies, the notion of personal liberty is neither static nor self-evident. It evolves alongside society's moral and intellectual maturation. What happens here is it evolves alongside the society's moral and intellectual maturation, which means constitutional democracy can be legally described, but it still evolves with how the society is evolving. So it is never static. Let's say something is already written into democracy and it doesn't stay like that forever. There are changes that are done alongside society's development. Okay. While legal text may codify rights in precise language, yeah, our rights are codified in precise language, their true scope is often determined by judicial interpretation. So what is their true scope is actually determined by how the judiciary is interpreting it, and that interpretation certainly changes with the time and society and the development that is happening. Consequently, liberty is not merely a legal guarantee. So liberty is not actually a legal guarantee but a philosophical construct. यहाँ philosophy आता है, समझे इस बात को. Consequently, liberty is not merely a legal guarantee. So you may take liberty of things by understanding it by the definition. Sometimes maybe even though the definition remains the same, the scope will certainly change according to today's norm. So liberty is not merely legal guarantee but a philosophical construct. It is how we are perceiving it now. Okay, what is the main philosophy behind liberty? Philosophy behind the liberty remains the same, but how it is defined may certainly change. One that must reconcile the authority of the state with the autonomy of the individual. So what authority does the state have on certain individuals and what autonomy the individual also has? When these things actually intersect, come together, only then the legislature or the laws are basically formed. Okay. This dynamic gives rise to an enduring tension. There is always tension between state and individual autonomy. Whether the law ought to mirror prevailing moral values or serve as an instrument to reshape them. The dynamic gives rise to an enduring tension, whether the law ought to mirror prevailing moral values. So, should the law actually follow what are the moral values in today's world, or serve as an instrument to reshape them? Or should it serve as an instrument to reshape those moral values as per what is written or what is actually thought about? If it merely follows society, it risks legitimizing majoritarian impulses. So whatever majority of people are thinking right now, that may become the law without really taking that wisdom into account, which was firstly taken consideration into. Yet, if it seeks to lead, it may appear disconnected from democratic consent. Yet, if it seeks to lead, okay, if it wants to lead, it may totally be disconnected from the democratic consent. Now, if something is already written 100 years back, and in today's value system it doesn't fit, then it may happen so that if we are bound by law all the time and the codified version of law, uh, it may feel completely different from what we are today. So this disconnection may also be a problem. The idea of constitutional morality attempts to resolve this dilemma by positing that certain principles like dignity, freedom, and justice must remain inviolable. So, these basic philosophies of humans, what humans need, must remain untouched even when they conflict with the popular sentiment. So, even if the popular sentiment is against it, doesn't matter, the law must follow these few principles for sure. That is dignity, freedom, and justice. Doesn't matter what the majoritarian impulse says. Thus, the expansion of personal liberty is neither accidental nor purely legislative. So, it is neither completely accidental nor it is legislative. It is the outcome of a sustained engagement between law and philosophy. So, when there is a constant, interaction, you can say, a constant brainstorming between these two uh, between the people who follow these two disciplines, who are from these two disciplines like law and philosophy, where they constantly talk about it, where they constantly brainstorm that, and then they come to a conclusion. It is only through this process this expansion actually happens, where courts act not just as interpreters of the statuses, but as custodians of a moral vision embedded within the constitution. So they are basically the custodians of moral vision embedded within the constitution. So what is there in the constitution? It has the main purpose of being very moral towards everything. So that vision is uncompromised. They should ultimately, everything that that falls under the purview of law must always try to reach to moral vision of anything. Okay, so this is what the entire passage is about. Now let's solve questions. So now let's solve the questions. Which of the following can be most reasonably inferred from the passage? So कौन सा जो ऑप्शन है वो मोस्ट रीजनेबली हम इन्फर कर सकते हैं पैसेज से, वो पता करना है. ठीक है, क्लोजेस्ट ऑप्शन कौन सा है वो हमें पता करना है और टिक मार्क करना है. जुडिशियल इंटरप्रिटेशन इज अननेसेसरी इन अ सोसाइटी विथ क्लियरली रिटन लॉज. अब ये जुडिशियल इंटरप्रिटेशन है वो अननेसेसरी है, अगर लॉज ऑलरेडी लिखे हुए हैं तो उस हिसाब से चले जाना चाहिए. तो ऐसा कहीं नहीं इन्फर कर पा रहे, जुडिशरी को हम निगेट नहीं कर रहे हैं पैसेज में. Constitutional morality can justify decisions that may not align with the majority opinion. तो ये बिल्कुल कहा गया है कि majority of opinion अगर कुछ और है, लेकिन वो constitutional morality जो main है, जैसे फ्रीडम है, डिग्निटी है, इन सब चीजों के अगेंस्ट जा रहा है मेजोरिटी ओपिनियन, तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन 110% उसके साथ जा सकता है. So this can be reasonably inferred from the passage. But C और D देखेंगे. Personal liberty is best preserved when courts avoid engaging with philosophical. बिल्कुल नहीं, philosophical ideas ये हम नहीं कह रहे हैं. हम कह रहे हैं कि कोर्ट ने एक्चुअली एंगेज करना चाहिए philosophical ideas से, और आज के जमाने में क्या हो रहा है, मॉरल वैल्यूज कहाँ से कहाँ तक पहुंच, किन चीज को मॉरल समझा जा रहा है, इन सारी चीजों का ब्यौरा लेकर ही उन का स्कोप डिसाइड होना चाहिए. ओके, ऐसा कह रहे हैं हम पैसेज में. सो ये तो इन्फर हम नहीं कर सकते. डेमोक्रेटिक कंसेंट शुड ऑलवेज ओवरराइड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रिंसिपल्स. डेमोक्रेटिक कंसेंट should always override constitutional principles. So पूरी जनता ने एक हल्ला मचा रखा है एक चीज को, इसको ऐसा कर दो, ऐसा कर दो, ऐसा कर दो, लेकिन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रिंसिपल के आधार पे अगर वो डिसीजन नहीं है तो उसने वो डिसीजन नहीं लेना है जुडिशियरी ने. इट इज नॉट अबाउट व्हाट all the people think. If it is not aligned with democratic, if it is not aligned with the main principles of democracy, ठीक है. तो ये भी इन्फर नहीं कर सकते हैं हम. तो हमारा करेक्ट ऑप्शन है यहाँ पर ऑप्शन बी. ओके, तो चलिए अब नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखते हैं. The author's argument implies, क्या imply करता है author का argument? Law and morality are entirely independent, entirely extreme देखिए option, entirely independent domains that should not intersect. बिल्कुल opposite बात imply कर रहा है ये तो opposite है, ये नहीं हो सकता. Courts risk undermining democracy when they expand personal liberty. Courts risk undermining democracy when they expand personal liberty. ऐसा भी हम कहीं नहीं कह रहे हैं, है ना. हम तो ये कह रहे हैं कि सब कुछ जो सोच समझकर, और जुडिशरी ने भी स्कोप डिसाइड करना है, डेमोक्रेसी को भी ध्यान में रखना है, डेमोक्रेसी के प्रिंसिपल्स को ध्यान रखना है, और लोगों के सेंटिमेंट्स आजकल के ज़माने को, इन सारी चीज़ों को ध्यान में रखकर किसी भी चीज़ का जुडिशरी में स्कोप डिसाइड होना चाहिए. The legitimacy of law depends partly on its ability to engage with ethical reasoning. बिल्कुल, ability to engage with ethical reasoning is something that we are talking about constantly in the passage. हम कह रहे हैं ethical reasoning से aligned 110% होना चाहिए, right? We should be able to, not we, basically judiciary should be able to, people involved in judiciary should take in consideration ethical thinking, should take into consideration philosophy, so that they can achieve that moral vision they are looking at, right? So ये हम कह सकते हैं कि argument से ये imply होता है. Personal liberty has already reached its maximum possible scope in modern democracies. ऐसे भी हम नहीं कह रहे कुछ भी, right? So this is our correct option, guys. I hope you have understood this passage. So ऐसे ये जो passage है ना, ये आपको बहुत हेल्प करेगा ये समझने में कि किस तरीके से दो अलग अलग टॉपिक्स इंटरसेक्ट होके एक पैसेज बनता है. ये तो एक छोटा, एक शॉर्ट आरसी था, बट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड गाइस दैट even if we are talking about one topic at a time, it is not going to be just about one topic. Topics are going to intersect and we are going to get interdisciplinary RCs. Okay, so if you find it difficult, it is always, important that you improve yourself in both the disciplines. Okay, it is majorly because only when you understand each discipline individually, I'm not saying you become an MA or something like that in every discipline, that's not what I mean. What I mean here is, from the CAT perspective, we have to read the passages based on every discipline, two or more than two disciplines intertwined together. So those things will challenge our mind and brain and help us develop critical thinking skills, which are the most important skills while answering CAT. Okay, now another part is, for more practice, you can always rely on our course, which is already there on our website. वो launch हो चुका है VARC का course. उसमें आपको PYP के सारे questions 2070 से लेकर 25 तक के सारे RCs मिलेंगे, topic wise RCs मिलेंगे, which will be very helpful for you guys in this CAT 2026. So what are you waiting for? Please enroll and start solving. Don't waste your time. Okay, the link is there in the description box, and stay tuned because I will come with another RC for you next week.